off a couple. He's still going. Butler over in the corner. That's the line, over the line he rolls. Burnside, Brenta. All collegians have turned it over. Oh, he's got it again. He's got to go. Spry will do very well. Spry will go out. Port Adelaide will push out, and they will push on to So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are coming to you from Wommer Reserve. My name, as always, is Dave Webb. I'm joined today in commentary by Peter Campagna, and we come to you today, unfortunately, with a heavy heart. This week, Woodville lost one of their brethren in Evan Vainu-Price, and passed away this week. And unfortunately, Mikey Roberts will be playing number 10 for Elizabeth. That's his 6-month-old daughter through an undiagnosed heart condition. So our hearts go out to both of these rugby families, really. It's a tough week, but rugby will be there to just help and show family, really, Pete.
Yeah, it's been a rough week when we heard the news from Mikey, especially down here, one of our own boys, with such a tragic event. Couldn't imagine going through it myself, so.
No, and obviously a massive part of the Woodville family went this week as well, and our hearts go out to the family of Evan, and obviously the friends and the family and friends of Mikey as well. There'll be a lot of emotion on this one. Ladies and gentlemen, rugby will continue. And up until now, Pete, this is the furthest north we have been. We will stay, it holds the record, at least until we get up to the Barossa in a couple of weeks' time. But this is a rematch of the grand final. It would be the last time you two teams met in anger, wouldn't it? With that grand final two years ago?
It was that amazing grand final.
I'm sure you can remember the result of that one.
Most definitely.
One of our many final minute wins that we've seen on Spacequake Sports, and we're off and running. Mikey Richards will start, and Elizabeth will be attacking the left of your screen. Adcock will have first bite at it. The venerable Tom Price putting his hand up for work early. Jacob Parry in at halfback. It's a new halfback combination for Woodville. Well, new is in as far as Spacequake Sports are concerned, with Yeston Young-Roberts finally healthy. Jacob Parry has been in that 9 shirt for a while. And the halfback combination for Elizabeth is one that I'm looking forward to seeing. De Oliveira at 9 and Roberts at 10, two very skillful young men. I think we've just seen that Sanka, as Woodville will look to get the first points on the board, just runs a nice line, runs around his tacklers. The top tackle can't get him, and Woodville will open the scoring early 5 points to 0. But caught on the back foot, really, as we have a look at the replay. Just once he got through, he just pace, Peter.
Just had it straight through the guts, up and in there, just too good, too quick.
And I think it came from a turnover ball, a quick turnover ball, and
it was. Eyes wasn't up for Lizzie.
And that's always going to put you on the back foot. But just that 9-10 pairing, De Oliveira, he's already played a second grade game. Did he play the whole lot?
I think he did. He's made his comeback this year. He hadn't played many minutes this year, and come back and put on a show for us in the reserves.
He is a fit young man, though. I'll give him that. Probably one of the fittest going around, I reckon.
Probably, I reckon he gets that extra speed from that slick hair of his.
Parry will knock over the extras. Not always the easiest kick in the world, the one straight in front, but he made that one look easy.
A lot of pressure.
Just that first miss tackled from Vuata and then round Hyam.
We don't see Semessa missing many, so...
It did look on that replay, and I know I spoke to Jason beforehand, and I'm not throwing him under the bus, which, you know, I will do at some point in the future.
Definitely worth it.
But he's not 100%, is he, Mr. Hyam?
No, I think he's had a bit of a rough start to the year, unfortunately, so he's a bit sore, I think.
So Woodville will go again. Adcock looks for a bit of space, beats the first one, looks to offload, nobody there. 2 phases from Woodville. And that's it. I gave him the commentator's curse on phase play. We knocked it down, just a little bit of a knock on. So it's our first scrum of the game. We get to have a look at it. Just off the fingers. I have a ref feed in my mic. We're going to see whether we can get it to you for the second half, but I can hear what the referee is saying.
Be an interesting first scrum, I think.
We can see whether Elizabeth can launch anything from a platform. Elizabeth going backwards, so De Oliveira has to sort it out. One to Richards, he pulled it out the back. They will get another go. Good clean out. Hyam looking for a little bit of work. Takes on Adcock, loses it. And Woodville in a very good position have turned that ball over very, very quickly again. Massive counter ruck came. I think that was Richards who came through. Oh yeah. And the ball had gone when he made the hit. But again, talking to Jason before kickoff today, obviously a notable absence, and something Elizabeth is known for is their relationship with the Army and the Army base up here in Edinburgh.
Yep.
10 weeks they're away.
10 weeks. It's going to be an interesting time for us.
Which is always going to be a challenge for you. Also, another one is just Chris Slight moving clubs this year in the off season, which is a fairly big. It's a talking point.
Quite a big loss, but we've just got to work with what we've got.
Adcock to Price standing at halfback, and the two Welshmen link up, and that's a massive hit in midfield from Richards. I don't think it's going to be the last time we say that, as Price will rumble forward. Then they will look out to the left side. Young Roberts with a short ball. And that's Hunt in midfield, and then that's going to bounce its way out. Bounces kindly though. Did enough on the tackle. Richards was there but couldn't do anything, and then Fitzgerald will have a look. Fitzgerald gets close to the line. Finally dragged back by Hyam and turned over. Elizabeth having to go from the shadow of their own post. Looks for the offload, gets the offload. The offload ran into the hands of Adcock. Just a little bit of please calm down from Mr. Blackburn.
Going back to that last line out, did we just see Tommy Price at 9?
Yes, we did.
Jeez.
Now, there was some conversation. There was some conversation. I've played some halfback games in my life, and they say there is some conversation as to whether I'm the tallest halfback
I think so.
that's ever played in that position. But I think it is now fair to say that the biggest halfback.
I think Price takes it, that one.
But I tell you what, it worked.
If it works, it works. Why not?
Nice pass off his left hand to his fellow countryman. I think this is the first time as well we've got to see young Roberts. He's a player with a lot of promise, but unfortunately injuries have caused him all sorts of problems. Early ball out into the centres. And a nice little pass on the outside to Gatehouse, and the second try comes as easy as that. It's Mellis who's causing all sorts of problems in that midfield. Scored the first one, made the second one. It's just too easy, the first two, Pete.
It is. They've come from just smart play around the outside, recognise the overlap. and punished us for it.
Obviously, Ryan Gatehouse in the first ever best and fairest for Division 1 2 years ago. We have gone to a single division again, which is also causing some conversation around the grounds.
Definitely a talking point.
I think I'm starting to get my head around it. What are we, week 4 now, and I think I'm just about getting it. Everybody plays everybody else once.
Correct.
And then after that, you then play the teams that you are around on the table.
I think the comp gets split in half.
Top 6 or top 5, bottom 6, I think. The flags will stay down for that one. It is breezy today. Probably can't see it on your screen. Oh no, the flags did go up. Sorry about that, Jacob. Why should I ever have doubted him?
Taking points away from
I
him.
know, I shouldn't do that to a fella kicker. That one is driven hard and low. Bounces in front of Adcock, picks it up well. Winger gets him at the second time of asking.
Mikey Richards is definitely in there hunting.
Yeah. I did speak to him before the game, and he just said it's about getting back to normality for him.
Definitely.
As Price lost that, turned over in midfield, and Elizabeth will go again. De Oliveira has to go digging. Does go digging, finds Hyam. Hyam rolls back the years somewhat, gets across halfway. It's nice to see 50-year-olds running around.
I'm surprised those bones still move, to be honest.
It took him a long time to get up, in fairness.
That's like the Jace we know.
Yeah. I do feel that there could be a Spacequake Sports Supercut of every time you have a go at Jason for his age today. Donor is just down. Did I see him running around in the second grade?
No.
So it's not just a rest. It looks like he wants to come.
He was running around in the second grade, but I think we've got our numbers wrong.
Is this Dickens?
Yes.
Right, so Dickens is wearing the number 3.
And I believe Donor has got...
We'll find out what number Donor's got.
Yep, that
number
is
1.
The 1.
There we go. So, scrum midfield, massive blind side for Elizabeth to work with.
Hopefully we can use some of our pace.
And this, he's named on the score sheet. I can't see him on the bench. I just sat very near to the book. Boris Manguale, who's someone we enjoyed watching when he gets him going, but I can't see him on the bench. He's named as a reserve.
Excitement machine, as I'd like to call him, doesn't stop.
I wonder, obviously having Richards at 10, I'd like, if you've got somebody who can go in there, where you swap De Oliveira out to 10 and just find Richards a little bit more room, probably in that 13, 15
bit of space
channel.
For him. Use his pace.
Yeah. And his counter-attacking ability. Very, very good rugby league player. Again, not a solid scrum. We expect to see Hyam try and tidy it up, but De Oliveira will take on the reins. He will go out to that blind side. Now it becomes a foot race. Woodville defender did very well, corralled him into touch. That's the number 8 who's come a long way over, Evans. Very impressive from the Woodville number 8 to cover all of that ground. That's what you want him to do. I'm just having a look at 18 on the back of yours. You're a forward and a back rower. Corner flagging. That's what you need to do.
We get to have a look at Tommy Price's right-hand pass now.
Yeah, off the back.
Whoa,
right hand is just as good to young Roberts. Young Roberts will give it to the dangerous Mellis. And then Price will get it back and do his usual work. Young Roberts again, flat ball to Adcock. It's been a defensive test in this opening 10 minutes for Elizabeth. Now Woodville are going to go wide to Mellis. Now can Mellis find a little bit more space? Bit better defensively from Elizabeth, and the ever elusive Gatehouse looking for a little bit of space. They can go again. They will go again. Out to Mellis. Mellis has got support on the inside. Doesn't need him. He'll step Douglas, and Mellis will go over easy as. If you're talking about the difference between these two clubs in the opening stanza of this one, it is Mr. Mellis.
It is. It definitely is. That right-hand edge for Elizabeth there.
Yeah, his ability to bring players in and find gaps, and deceptively quick.
He is. He is.
And a nice finish. That's how you do it. Could have done with the grass to be a little bit wetter because it just held him up a little bit. Have a word with the ground staff. Maybe get the sprinklers on at half time.
I think we'll need to.
So Parry will look to keep his 100% record going. What do you think the conversation is in that Elizabeth huddle?
I think it'll be our turnovers. We're losing the ball quite easily, unfortunately, and giving Woodville a bit of opportunities.
And he is successful. I almost tried not to watch it. So you just see that blind side, and then he's got support on the inside, and the fullback is in absolutely no man's land. And then Mellis stepped him. Probably one of the hardest positions in rugby, isn't it, that fullback,
Yeah.
when you find yourself 2-on-1.
I agree. It's why I tend to stay up in the line.
You don't want to be back there. Potter will take the restart. Decent little counter rug, just slowed them down a little bit. Price with the inside ball to Hunt. Ball is coming back when Woodville want it. Another inside ball to young Roberts. He will get rid of the first one. Then out the back of the hand to Lindsay Adcock, who couldn't go with it. And now Elizabeth have their own counter-attack. Certainly slower. Hyam will step and work on the inside. Shakes his way almost out of the tackle of Hunt, but did get good yardage. De Oliveira is there again. He's done very well to take that, Brooksy. Absolute nightmare of a pass from De Oliveira, who I was about to say can give absolute silver service to his halfback, to his second five. Sorry, his first five.
Fortunately, not that time.
I think that's the first time in history that the commentator's curse has come just from a thought.
Brooksy's done well, very, very well to hold on to that one.
Brooksy's done incredibly well.
Catching balls with his head now.
It's about as good as it gets, that. So all the backs have gone away to the right-hand side. They do have a decent amount of space to this side. It's not normally the place you would go because the halfback for Woodville is already here. But there is an option if they want it. They do want it. Hyam will take a couple to stop him. Stop him they do, and again the counter rug, but illegal. De Oliveira will go. He's going to get his 10 yards, and then an airy. Said he got it off his foot. That's a mess. And a penalty coming to Elizabeth. There it is. Leave it when I say leave it is the instruction from our referee, Mr. Jones. It's a tough one when it's 50-50, isn't it?
Very assertive talk from the referee. I like that.
I do like it. Like when the referees just shout leave it and everybody lets go.
Yeah.
That's what you want. So De Oliveira this time will just nudge it down the line. And first time really that we've seen Elizabeth get into a position where you think they could threaten the Woodville goal line, but they have given them a 21-point start, Pete.
It's not ideal, but hopefully we can make the most of this opportunity down in our half.
So he'll get to have a look at the Elizabeth set piece. The scrum seems fairly settled between the two. Nice work from Blackburn to get in front. Richards shows, then he will straighten. Good tackle in midfield. Another little step inside, and Elizabeth just inch by inch is starting to make their way closer to that Elizabeth try line. De Oliveira to Richards. Richards will float it out to this near side. Big, strong and true. As the arms come out high, I think he's gone, but I didn't look like there was many arms in that either. Have a go with at least one. Yeah, no arms in the tackle is what he's gone with. So they won the first one, but not convincingly. I mean, they won the first one probably on the back of Blackburn's work. So De Oliveira will put them in closer. So, just quietly, between you and me, and obviously the people watching at home, is there a driving maul in the Arsenal?
I would like to see it. There's definitely one in the Arsenal. It's whether the call gets made, and I would like to see it from this position. It'd be very tempting. I think if I was out there, I'd be calling it.
So bang on the 5 metre line, I think, where everyone's waiting for a ball. And if I'm not mistaken, the new president of Elizabeth?
Correct. Sammy Cowan.
It's just away to our left, and Mr. Babcock, who's still coaching. Blackburn again makes it work, but it's not going to be good enough for a driving maul, and then they've turned it over to Adcock. Adcock has a long way to go, puts the ball on the boot, and it becomes a foot race. Richards with quite possibly the most clever running line I've seen in a while. He's got a long way to go.
Oh.
Nice step, gets past the first one. Can't beat him a second time. Got away with a little knock on, I think, there, on the blind side of the referee. Popped out again. De Oliveira will send it to Richards. Richards has lost it.
Oh.
Lost it twice.
Bit messy at the moment.
Just handling errors. Again, they'll look close to the line. Can't quite get there. Parry takes his time. And we'll send it to young Roberts. Had to get it standing. Gone backwards. Gone out to Guest. Guest will send it on. The bus just didn't go to hand. Now it's hacked ahead. There's a foot race, but only Gatehouse is going to win that one. That's not a bad little shepherd as well from Mellis.
Very smart.
Oh, again, another handling error, and Adcock will leave it behind. Then a high tackle. Ladies and gentlemen, stay with us. We are hoping the rugby game is going to break out at some point. You see the first one. Didn't quite see the clever line, but how about this for a step?
Ankle's gone.
There you go. But he did get him back. He got him the second time. Evans finally managing to get his prey. And then there was another hack and chase from the other side. And it was all going off. So Elizabeth will be able to relieve the pressure with a penalty. Just came off the side of his foot somewhat, but that's into the teeth of the wind.
Into the wind. You've seen it hang up there.
It is blowing across, as it normally does. So from the sort of top right of your screen to the bottom, but top left of your screen to the bottom right of your screen, that's where the wind is going. Again, just didn't quite go to hand. De Oliveira has to tidy that up. Richards out to Vuata, and it's all a bit static from Elizabeth, but it looks like they might get away. Comes back inside, out to the 22. Young Roberts there, good counter ruck from Woodville, but
What about this haircut from Fitzgerald right in front of us?
That's been an absolute mainstay for Fitzgerald. That's been there for a long time, that one.
I have seen it for a while, and I'll make sure I let him know about it every time I see him.
And that's how you use the wind. He had difficulty going into it, and then he used it very, very well. Just while we were discussing the coiffury of Fitzgerald, the Elizabeth captain, Blackburn, did ask Mr. Jones the question about the number of penalties at breakdown. Looks like Woodville have turned it over again. Just having an argument there. Again, just a bit talkative, and it is something that, you know, Woodville have done in the past. And they do get in danger of just getting too involved with the referee. So apologies to Mr. Everson, the captain. Put your numbers right on the team sheet. We have this problem, boys.
You'd think Jason Heim, being an ex-school teacher, would be able to get his numbers right.
Oh, no, right. I don't think it's fair that you threw Jason under the bus. He did everything he could to help me. And that's another one roll away. Not 10, so they'll get another shot at it, whether he can get through or not. Can they get a decent roll on from it? De Oliveira to Richards. Richards will just run that line. Oh, Gatehouse. His eyes were wide open at that point. But we will give Richards the benefit of the doubt. He knew he had the advantage. You can just take that chance. Communication from Mr. Jones has been very good. So Douglas will kick to touch again. Again, he'll just hang it up there, let the wind do the work.
Using that wind beautifully to this side.
And that's where you want to put it. If you could walk down and place it there, that's where he would have wanted to put it.
Hopefully you see a better line out than the last one from this position.
Most of the lineouts, having watched the lineouts, most of the lineouts we've seen, they've just been, you're missing by inches. And he just hasn't been able to bring it down. And that's been the problem. And again, just go again. He said it was ugly. I don't disagree with you, Mr. Jones. Speaking of haircuts, I was Mr. Adcock with the modern mullet.
Very slick.
I miss those days, you know, Pete. Elizabeth finally will get hands on ball, but Evans has managed to make himself a nuisance, and they've turned it over again. Adcock, can they go from here? They are going to look to go from here. They'll go out to Gatehouse. What can Gatehouse do? Manages to get away from the first one. Can't get away from the second one. Gives it back to Adcock. Adcock inside. It's a grass cutter tackle. Just dove at his shins. Just a comment on the Facebook from Aaron Johnson says, Ross Mellis to score an overhead kick from 30 yards out. The way he started this game, I think we could probably see that. It's been very impressive so far, Mr. Mellis. Not somebody I've seen too much of. So Woodville will have the line out, and Tom Price is back in that half-back role.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Hopefully we get to see it in a bit of phase play.
I want to see him run the Gregan ball. Or just a reverse pass.
Poetry in motion.
Reverse torpedo pass, 40 yards. Good ball, it will come to Price. On a plate for young Roberts, and then Mellis will go. Parry. Oh, that's a big contact. Mikey Roberts sat down. Young Roberts again, short ball to Adcock. He got man and ball with Voata as well. Richards is slow to get up. Just keep an eye on that. Mellis looking for a gap. Can't quite get one. Voata's got him. Just drops it off to Parry. Then to Hunt. Richards makes another tackle. Parry looks for the little kick. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say it was a charge down, but Woodville have come back with it. Adcock beats the first one and the second one. Third one gets him. Hunt will loop it over the top to Guest. Guest got himself a little bit isolated, but the clean-up came just in time. Woodville will go again and continue to build. Mellis looks inside. Almost found his way, almost gave away a miracle ball as well. Adcock picks it up. Wall of red, white and blue in front of him. Parry to Hunt. Hunt will just go straight and hard. Yeah, rolling away. I'm not sure whether he could roll away. I think he was in a bear-like grip.
Definitely tied up in there.
Yeah, got to make a little bit of an effort. So Woodville going for the scrum. Sorry, I went quiet then because I was listening to the referee. Just wants to try and tidy up that the breakdown as much as possible. Yeah, and I think that's the problem. They just, both sides just need to clean this up a little bit, you would think.
Would like to see those rucks getting a bit cleaner. Bit of fast ball for Sunker would be nice.
Yeah, and the scrums that Elizabeth have had, that it's been coming through on the back foot.
Yes. We're not known for our scrums, and I've always said as long as you get the ball, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and having little knock on at the back. Oh, that's got to hurt. And having an experienced number 8 at the back like Jason Hyam just means that you get away a little bit with it not being as solid as you would want it. There's a change coming for Woodville, which is Potter. Don't know whether that's an injury or not, but we're seeing the Woodville president make his way onto the field in Graham Gibbons. Looks like an injury. He's gone straight to the hands of the physio. Didn't see any blood on him. Tom Price using his nose, asking for water. The referee says no. I mean, it is warm for, it's like, what, 24 today? But I wouldn't have said that it's enough for mandatory water breaks. But of course, Tom will do everything he can to slow the game down.
Tommy just doing what he's best at. Apart from obviously being at 9. I think that's my favourite part of him now.
Absolutely adore it. We should start an online position. They seem to be all the rage in the moment, the online positions. Tom Price to wear the number 9 permanently. And just while you were doing a wardrobe change, I was just saying, Elizabeth might be going backwards, but when you've got a number 8 as experienced as Hyam, he can tidy it up.
Exactly, and that's what he's best at.
So Elizabeth have to go from their own goal line, and that got caught up in the wind and will just find Jacob Parry, who kind of ducked into that one. Adcock will go to half-back and just pick and go, try and find a little bit of a gap. Can't quite get there, so now Woodville are going to look out to that left-hand side. Hunt rolls off the first tackle, rolls around the second one, and Hunt will go over again.
Just caught us napping there.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's napping or whether it's just the age-old saying, isn't it? Bend but don't break, and I think they just broke. That first contact from Vuata just didn't do enough, and he rolled around the corner. And it's been a good spell for Elizabeth. And after half an hour, and Woodville finally getting another try. They'd scored in a hurry early on.
They did. And
then Elizabeth just managed to steady the ship. Unfortunately, again, as you can see on the Wojtek scoreboard, with half an hour gone, that Woodville are going to probably go into a half-time with a very handy lead.
Very comfortable, I think.
Whoa, he got it. That is a Spacequake Sports first.
Beautiful.
I don't think we've ever seen that. We definitely haven't seen it on Spacequake Sports.
That's
I
beautiful.
haven't seen it. Have we seen it in any rugby broadcast? Let's see whether he goes too early. Well, he's gone on the back step.
There was the James O'Connor one from a few years back.
There's old Fitzy.
Love that hair.
I think he used to play with Mikey Richards in the code that shall not be named. Adcock. It's not a bad kick if it bounces right. Did bounce an awkward bounce, but he's done well. He will step. De Oliveira is there. He looks around. There's not much there, and Richards will just have to put it on the boot. Parry is back there. Then he will find Gatehouse. Gatehouse with a lot of green in front of him is always an issue. He'll put it on the boot. Again, don't let it bounce. He did let it bounce, and Guest is going to get there. Horse collar is there, but they managed to get the offload to Gatehouse, and Gatehouse will dot it down. Well, rule number 1 for fullbacks.
Always catch it on the full. That's it.
Do not let it bounce. Oh, it causes you all sorts of issues.
I think he thought it might be heading out there.
So Gatehouse will put it out on the far side for Parry.
Not making his life easy for him.
I think there was the issue as well that we had the breakdown just in front of us, and De Oliveira got there, and he had Richards outside him, and that was about it.
Yeah.
So Richards really had no choice but to try and play some possession, and then
Exactly. Do what he can with it.
again another long talk from Hyam. No charge down this time. Oh, just on the angle.
Unlucky.
Had a go at it. Just trying to look. The sun shouldn't have been an issue. But as we sort of start to get towards the half time, if we talk about players who have impressed me, obviously Mellis has been absolutely fantastic. Should say as well that Mellis and Gatehouse are both on a hat-trick. That'll be an interesting one for them.
Will be.
That'll be an interesting discussion after the game. Mellis has been very, very impressive, but the number 2 for Woodville, I think it's Zach Guest, but Guest, number 2 for Woodville, has been very, very impressive. I see him running out in that centre channel quite a lot. And of course, we have to give mention to Tom Price for his absolutely wonderful halfback cameo. Adcock. Ball comes off the foot of Mellis. Dealt with much better by the fullback. Just too high. And again, Elizabeth want to go quickly. This time, they are going to get away. And Everson,
hit and spin.
Oh, nearly got away. And the fire roll. Elizabeth have got a little bit of momentum. Can they do anything with it? De Oliveira will bounce it towards Richards. He's going to have to be cleaned up by Brooks, which she does. De Oliveira almost through the gap again. Possibly wasn't held, and then rolled over the top. Big loud blast of the whistle. Someone's going, I think. Okay, so it's Mr. Gibbons, the president of Woodville, is going to go and just have a sit down. Of course, Mikey used to run around in the green and yellow for Woodville as well, so they know each other very well, just that he rolled him in the tackle. So it looks like they're just going to try and nudge it into the corner. It's an interesting one because the lineouts haven't been strong either, and there you see that wind again. You just really drive through them, which he's done, but you just sacrifice so much distance.
Exactly.
But the lineout hasn't been as solid a platform as they would have wished. There is Mr. Mellis on your screen. Better, they've gone quickly. De Oliveira to Richards. Richards looks inside, gives it inside to Vuata. Counter ruck comes from Hunt again. Loves his counter ruck. Richards fires it out. Good take. Then the in and out. Nearly found a little bit of space. De Oliveira will get there. Hyam rolling around the corner. He'll work with Everson. Better from Elizabeth. Manguale will try and find a hole. Doesn't. De Oliveira to Richards. Richards with a short ball to Brooks. Nice bit of continuous possession for the men from up north. Then Richards will float it over the top. Have we got the pace out wide? Can't beat the cover tackle, but they can go again. Richards will pick and go to Everson. Everson, 5 meters out. De Oliveira to Brooks. Brooks will just head down and go. To Richards. Richards again will fire it out. Then the step inside. One to beat. Try scored. Boyd will get some points back for Elizabeth.
That lethal step causing havoc out this way.
I think when you watch the replay, he's almost forced into the step from the pace of the pass from Richards. He has to stop and catch it, and he just went inside Fitzgerald, and then Adcock couldn't bring him down within the 5 meters.
Was a beautiful pass from Richards.
There is some hope. It's a good finish from Boyd. Well, that's my watch talking to me because I looked at the clock. Apologies. But really, really good from Elizabeth. That is some really good phase play, which has put it together. So the signs are there.
It's much better. It's what we like to see.
So we've seen him kick well from hand. What's he like off the ground, Mr. Douglas? We'll just move on.
Unfortunately, he's only come back in the last few weeks after having, I think, probably closer to 2 years off. And last week, 2 weeks ago, just got given the ball to kick over the post and hadn't kicked a goal in 2 years.
You can tell by his boots, they're brand spankers that he's wandering around in.
Got the itch and come back out. That's what we like to see.
So there is a change. De Oliveira is going to come off. I don't know what that means positionally. The number 18.
I think he'll be going to the wing and potentially having Vuata jumping in at 9, I reckon.
That one goes over the head and Hyam has to tidy it up, which he does. So that's Vuata who's gone into the 9, and they've got another penalty. Just trying to see what we switched around. I think that's about it. I think it's just an almost straight position swap. I think old man Vuata has gone out into the backs. Richards just comes off the side of the boot again. The question that you can hear being asked in the background is Phil Badcock, absolute stalwart of South Australian rugby. He was involved as a referee for a while, and he's
I've seen him out in the park doing it.
Passed his opinion to Mr. Jones. But it is a fair question. I mean, he did yellow card the last one, but do you just then stop, to reset?
That is the question. Do we go back to a warning again?
Yeah, Everson to Vuata to Richards. Richards had Vuata Senior on the inside, didn't need him, and then manages to offload to him. Out to the right. Richards just puts his head down, looks for another couple. Everson with Hyam, inside ball to Hyam. Hyam does well, breaks 2 tackles. Vuata to Richards, just couldn't quite get hold of it. But eventually Young will tidy it up, but it has his stolen off him. Evans will try and get away, then send it inside to Hebhart. That's very well. Good leg power, just dragging him with him. Bounce pass to Adcock. Out to young Roberts. Now they'll look in the centres again to Mellis. He asked the question. He looked like it from here that it was a bit high, but we're playing on. Mellis will show, then look to go. Does very well not to lose that one forward. Sorry, I missed it from Mr. Jones. It did look like a high one.
Not sure what he scored there. You'd know better than us.
Well, he said he played it on the floor.
Ah, yep. That'll do it.
Oh, they want half-time. Tapped and then into touch, and we're going to go into half-time. 31 points to 5. Just to wrap it up, it's been all Woodville really early days. In the first 10 minutes, there were 3 tries up. Then Elizabeth managed to settle things down. Then, unfortunately, the tries are coming in bunches a little bit for Woodville, but we have got one back in the shape of, I think it was a Boyd who scored the Elizabeth try. So, you know, they are coming back, but there's a big mountain to climb in the second half for Elizabeth. Stay where you are. We'll be back after this short break. And we're back. Jeez, we had to rush, Pete. You still got a mouthful of snake. Both teams were like, nah, we want to go. What are we doing? We don't want to hang around with a massive half-time break. So I was just having a look as well, just from around the grounds, the best that we can see. No real surprises. So obviously, what is it, 31 points to 5 here, I think?
I believe so.
31 points to 5 here. 31 points to 5 at Old Collegians. Old Collegians comfortable lead over Port Adelaide. Burnside 50 points by now already on Adelaide University, and Onkaparinga with the 49 over Barossa as we are underway here. And Brighton and Souths, which is one that we really want to keep an eye on.
Very interesting game.
That kicks off at 4:40. Oh, intercept. Elizabeth, it's a foot race. Can Boyd get there? He can't. Adcock did well. Adcock did very well, because there are moments there where that can just turn into a penalty and a yellow card, and all sorts of stuff could go on. Adcock has to just go and tidy it up. He said penalty, so he's going to come back for an offside, which is always going to be a thing. Just didn't quite go to hand, and Boyd was on it.
Boyd, very good hands there to pick that one up off the grass.
Couldn't think of a politically correct simile, so I'm going to leave it there. But Adcock has done incredibly well there, because it's so difficult not to give away a breakdown penalty at that point, either not rolling away or not releasing, or, you know,
anything, slowing it down.
And that's an automatic yellow card at that point. So well done, Lindsay Adcock. Not very often you say that about a defensive play.
Done very well there.
He's done incredibly well there. So Vuata late into the lineup, and I think we're just going to see Everson and him change. I didn't think that we were going to see Everson done the half-back duties. Offside, so Hyam wants to go. Hyam does go, runs sideways, looking for a gap, finds a gap he likes, then will just try and power his way to the line. Doesn't quite get there. Brooks will play halfback. Front row is having an absolute ball at halfback today. Richards is going to have a go, but just a little sniff, and then he will go, and Richards will get close to the line. Close enough? No.
Must have been unlucky there.
So held up. Oh no, taken in by Green is what he said.
Very unlucky.
Okay. That's an interesting one. So 5 metre scrum, not one I've seen before, to be honest, but could be a question about a penalty, because that's definitely playing the ball on the ground. But we move on. So a scrum, 5 metres out for Elizabeth. Decent blind side on this right side if they want it. They are all lined up away to the left. Their left. Can they make this scrum solid enough to be able to build from here? Hyam has to get it and go early. Can't quite shake out of the tackle.
Beautiful tackle around the
But now
there.
they can go. Out to Richards. Richards will show and straighten. Out to the left again, just a little bit static, but he's done well. And he gets the ball away. Everson couldn't quite find a way through. And Gwali will look for a little bit of space. And he's just to shake out of the tackle. Brooks, straight and hard again. Got away with it again, Everson. He's just going to look to reset. I think Vuata sends it back, but they do have Jason Hyam will want to go. He does go. Not quite strong enough, and again he gets held up just short. Possibly another breakdown penalty. They do have one still sitting in the bin. Richards couldn't find a gap again. Brooks will pick and go. Ball is there again. To Manguali, can he get there? He'll get to the line and held up. So a red ball, 5-meter scrum. And so that's Potter coming on to replace Gibbons. Couple of Woodville players just slow to get up. Is that Hunt? It is Hunt who's on the floor. And I tell you what, if he was to go for Woodville, if Woodville lost him, defensively, he's been an absolute rock.
On fire.
Because, you know, you would say normally, not that we condone betting in any way, shape or form, but normally if you had Hyam with 2 to beat,
You'd
5 meters out,
You'd put your money on it.
you'd put something on it, wouldn't you?
You would.
And it's been Hunt who's been there in the time and time again to close the door on the aging Hyam.
9 times out of 10 he does get through those ones, but I think something's catching up to him.
Just the subtle dig at him. We love Jason. Love his work on State of the Union as well.
It is. I had to listen to the last one. It was very good. It's good to see him and Pete just having a chat.
Yeah. It's always difficult when you hand something on to somebody. But they haven't disappointed me yet.
Definitely not.
So I think while we're waiting, we're just getting into this scrum. The start of the season has certainly thrown up some interesting positions and points and results, because if we were to go into it now, Woodville would be in 6th, so they'd be top of the first division, as it were. But the first division would, the Premier Grade, would be Souths, Port, Brighton, Burnside, and Old Colts. Onkaparinga, if it ended now, wouldn't be there, and it's really interesting. If Souths can keep winning, and Port can keep winning. Hyam had to go again, but just lost his footing. Was an interesting. Yeah, okay. Holding on, and Jason just nodding. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I'll have that one. But half-time, I did sort of wander over towards the Elizabeth huddle and just had a listen to what they were talking about. And the message was structure.
Yeah.
And the message was, how easy is it when we play our structure? And I think that's been shown in that bit as well. I mean, they had the man advantage, they had the extra player. You know, that's when you have to make it count.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, I think they only added on the 5 points. Just couldn't quite get there. And Hebhart and Thomas Price, it's big hit. Said it was high. It's borderline.
Bone crunching hit nonetheless.
Big hit. One of those rugby league hits. There is Jason Hyam on his 16th pair of boots that we've seen him wear.
Surprised he's left the Zimmer frame off the
field. There you go. You're just warming into it now, aren't you? The assistant wants a word. Just asking about the early jump, but nobody's overly bothered. Hebhart again to Price, and then Price will just put it on a plate for young Roberts. We'll not grow tired of watching this from Pricey. Well, there was no arms in the tackle from Voata, and that's why he lost out. Good counter ruck from Richards, but Parry will go. Adcock will go into halfback. Parry again. Now we'll look out to Young Roberts. Young Roberts delayed and gave to Mellis. Mellis steps in. One! Oh. Ladies and gentlemen.
Ankle breaker.
He has just shaken Richards out of his socks. That's about as good as it gets, and that is a hat-trick for Mr. Mellis. We get to see a replay of that. It is very rare you see a defender of the caliber of Michael Richards get this done to him.
Oh.
Check if there's any tension on your end, dude.
You know, then when I had a conversation with the referee was not interested at all. He's going to go and he wants to talk to the captain, Mr. Everson. So even though he said he didn't want to listen to Mr. Mellis, I think he obviously has. So it's basically a conversation about the height of Mr. Richards' tackles. And he's saying there's been a couple and he's been lenient, but that leniency might run out shortly.
You'd think if it continues, pocket might be coming out.
So a change in kicker. Gatehouse is going to have a look from that far side. Sends it on its way. Flag stay down though, just pulled it across the front. What do we expect from Brighton versus Souths? If there was such a thing as Rugby Union South Australia tipping, where would you be? Which box would you be putting the tick in?
I'm going to put down South. That's what I'm going to.
Well, that's a big call from Pete Campagna.
I think the upset. Upsets on the cards.
We'd love to see the upset. I'll be honest with you.
Very impressive when we played them in round one.
Driven long and bounces between, but nice bounce for Parry, and then Adcock will left-footed just stroke it towards halfway. It'll get to Hyam. Hyam will get going like a steam train. Starts slowly and then will just build up and finally gets dealt with by Adcock, but not until he's made a good 20 meters. Interested to see which side that comes out. Yeah, there was no release. And then talk.
Run it, boys.
Or kicking it away. Sorry, that was the kicking it away was the decision for the extra 10 meters.
Good pass, Daniel.
Yeah, I didn't think I saw a release, and that's what he's talking about. There was no release from the number 7. So you'd expect them to kick into, oh, it's going to say, no, they're going to go for it. Which isn't a bad shout, because once they've got the roll on, they've been okay. Boyd just looking for a little bit of space. So I think we're starting to see Woodville just not contest that breakdown now. Boata to Richards. Richards will look for a gap, can't quite find one. Another little sliff, just small bites. Brooks did well to pull his hands away from that, to be honest. Every time there's been a question, Hunter's been denied. Brooks will roll around the corner, just bite off a little bit more. Hyam will go straight through one. But as we've said more than once, Hunt will get him. And then Hunt will try and counter ruck and slow it down in off. Richards. Oh, an interesting looking pass, and Mellis managed to just trap the ball on the ground, and now we're going to get away. Now it is a foot race Will he get there? Good work from
Beautiful
Boyd to
cover
make
and
that
tackle.
tackle. Support is good. Support is Gatehouse. And Gatehouse will get his hat-trick, but after Mellis. That was just good rugby all round.
Beautiful
There was a
support there.
little moment. I don't know whether the replay will go back far enough. The rugby IQ of Mellis is outstanding because he's literally trapped that like a soccer ball. And then it's Evans is off to the races, and Boyd did very well, got rid of the fend, but as all good wingers should, Gatehouse
Always there.
in support.
Beautiful covering tackle.
And then Gatehouse doesn't like, trying to make it easier for his kickers, does
No,
he?
it doesn't. Definitely does not.
He tries to put it out as far as he can. Well, it's himself, actually. So he's only got himself to blame for this one. Tough one. Drive it at that right pan post. Hope that the wing brings it round. Which he does. And it didn't. Horrible when the wind drops. Did everything
Right at that
right.
time.
Did everything right, Gatehouse. From a Woodville coaching point of view, so have your number 13 and your number 14 score 3 tries each.
You'd be pretty happy.
Something's going well. Something's going right. Again, a long one into the hands of Gatehouse, and Gatehouse will put it on the boot. Does very, very well. Oh, it felt like it went a lot further than that, but just in front of us. Ooh. Both teams did well. Woodville have adjusted to the fact that Elizabeth want to get things going. Richards had inside runners and an outside runner, decided against it. That time Hunt did have a go at it, and this time he got away with it. Came away with it, sorry, not got away with it. So Woodville will look to build again. There's a lot of players pointing to Jacob Parry, just wanting them to send it. Voart has done well. Tackle is called. And he's gone forward, so Elizabeth will have a scrum just over 40 metres out. So it looks, I'm just trying to keep an eye on it. Richards is moving out. Looks like they have made a change. So Boyd has gone into that first 5 position, and then Richards has come out to the 13 position. We are very close to the Elizabeth bench. I wonder whether they heard me. Hyam runs at Young Roberts. Young Roberts did very, very well.
I think you're right, Woodville not contesting those rucks very often now.
I think the only one who has a right to at the moment is Shane Hunt, which isn't a bad tactic, because if you don't get it exactly right, you're just giving up possession.
Exactly.
Oh, good crock roll. Time off. Just another conversation. Once number 12. Just saying he wants him to stop after the whistle, and yeah, okay. Another high one. I feel for the game, we're getting up to double figures.
Yeah.
The number of penalties for high. Just can't get it to go, and the dangerous Malice is going to look to rebuild. Fitzgerald takes it across the 40. Parry picks it up, and then Eversham goes through the middle. Fine margins. Fine margins. Jacob Parry pleading with the referee when he went through. Oh, he's decided to come all the way over to this side, which isn't a bad shout with the wind. And left-footed will stroke it towards the clubhouse. Loves to chat, Jacob Parry. So it'll be a Woodville ball. Mikey Richards has come off. De Oliveira will carry on. He's going to go into halfback. Vuata will move out. Price, beautiful again. Then behind the back to Mellis. Can Mellis find a gap? No, held this time. Parry holds it, then gives it to Price. Price gets his momentum going, goes over the top of Vuata. Then Parry held it, then it will come out to Adcock. And Lindsay Adcock will stroll around under the posts. Just ran out of numbers. I actually don't think they ever reorganised from the defensive switch, because they moved De Oliveira into halfback. Vuata kind of went out into no man's land, and I don't think they ever got settled. And they just ran out of numbers.
Just beautiful crisp hands there on.
So the brothers working together. That's how a 2-on works, the draw and give. And then Fitzgerald just kept enough of the Elizabeth winger's interest to make sure that he wasn't a threat. And again, Elizabeth will have to start again. So about 20 minutes on our clock. Just remember we play time on in this one. Water again will drive it, just trying to find the gap between Adcock and Gatehouse, but Adcock has the ability to start it and get out to the first tackle. Parry to Price, but just came off the shoulder. So a little knock on from Yellow.
I think that's the only wrong foot Price he's taken today.
Yeah. I said it last week in jest about Mr. Hamilton, but I'll say it in all seriousness today. Tom Price has great hands for a prop.
Very. And we've already spoken about his passing ability as well.
He's a back trapped in a forward's body, that man. Elizabeth, that scrum's still going backwards. De Oliveira has to fix it to Vuata, who's playing his third position of the day. Manages to step the first one, can't get away from Evans. De Oliveira will fire it out to this near side to Black. Black does well to get rid of it. De Oliveira to Manguale. So there we talk about it again. Now they've gone quick to Everson. Everson just looks for a little bit of space. Gets to the 22. De Oliveira now sends it out to Vuata on that left-hand side. Nice little show and go. Tries to get around the outside of Young Roberts. Can't quite get there. Clean out gets there. And Hunt does well. Parry will put it on the boot, but it doesn't really go anywhere. Manguale will look to run it back. Just about dealt with by Woodville. And Vuata Senior will work into the 22. One-on-one. Tom Price says, no, 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 young man. You do not come down this way.
I think that's a bit of a mismatch there.
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of development in Elizabeth, but young man's wondering who built a brick wall in the middle of a rugby pitch. Brooks slow to get up. I don't know whether that's an injury or just a little bit of an ego strain. They have built some good platforms, Woodville, Elizabeth. They just haven't been able to break through the Woodville defence. I think, again, from a coaching point of view, defensively Woodville have been good today.
Definitely.
Stay in the middle, Bubs.
Woodville off a fairly big win last week as well, beating Barossa 64 points to 13. Elizabeth went down hard at Port Adelaide, 65 points to 0. And one would suggest that I don't think we're going to see, well, for the games that are running now, we're probably not going to see any shocks. Woodville, Old Coals have got the rub on Port. Burnside, as you would expect, dispatching Adelaide Uni. Onkaparinga are doing the same to Barossa, and then the mouth-watering fixture that is Brighton taking on Souths at Brighton. I'd love to see that become a local derby over the next couple of years, a real fierce local derby, because they are just down the road from each other.
I think it'd be definitely a beautiful game, I believe.
Parry to young Roberts, who comes all the way across to Adcock. They've got a 3-on-2 here if they can make it work. Gatehouse, defence has come across. First Verwater misses, then Manguali misses. Inside ball, it's taken. Parry loses it. Did he lose it legally? Nope. Just a knock on. Felt like there was a foot or a hand in
Something
there
in
somewhere. Did feel that way, but you can always tell with Jacob if he's been wronged, he'll let you know. Like, it doesn't leave you.
First one to tell you.
It doesn't leave you wondering, does Jacob? So time off, I think that's is that Mr. Manguali? That's the name I've got on the sheet, number 21.
More commonly known as Frank the Tank.
Frank the Tank. Well, there you go. Higham age has finally caught up, and he can no longer play on the back row, and he's going to move into prop. Notice that he hasn't taken Tommy Price's side. Just remind him of that afterwards. And there is a change in prop. Higham will go to prop.
You need to move back to the fence, please. You need to move back to the fence, please.
Whistle is gone. So, of course, as soon as Mr. Higham goes into the front row, he's going to control it. I think I just heard him say, "I'm not a front rower."
I don't think that'll let him stop him.
No, technique-wise, I think he would be big and strong. I think there's a long future for him in the front row.
I think he's looking good there.
Ball is gone. Sorry, I went quiet. I was just so enthralled with that. It's actually gone quite solid. For Water, had to gather it, does gather it. De Oliveira. Inside to Higham. De Oliveira. Little kick through. Adcock couldn't quite get it. It's still there, and then hacked ahead. Mellis drops on it, tidies it up. Ineffectual counter-ruck, and now the counter-attack comes from Woodville. Languidly runs around the inside, Evans, and then we'll put the ball to boot. There you go, catch it on the full. That's what happens when you do. Black has made good yards bringing it back. De Oliveira goes to the left to Everson, standing start. De Oliveira, Manguali, caught behind the gain line again. All a bit flat-footed from Elizabeth at the moment. Vuata, can they change that? Sends it to Douglas. He's caught behind the gain line as well. De Oliveira will look to the near side. Adcock flies up. Vuata managed to duck underneath the tackle. De Oliveira will get there. They've gone backwards, Pete. And again, they're going to go backwards.
Just need to get that ball faster out of the ruck, I reckon.
Vuata looks for a little gap, can't quite get one. At least they get parity that time. Out to the far side. Douglas tries to run around the outside. Black caught in possession, manages to get the offload. Good bump out on that far side, and he manages to shake himself away. Boyd has been impressive in the end of the first half and the start of this second one. De Oliveira, now they're starting to get a little bit of forward momentum. Hyam crosses the gain line. De Oliveira sends it out into midfield with Vuata. Again, just a little bit flat-footed, so they're starting to struggle to get back to that gain line again. De Oliveira misses one. Brooks gets that one.
Line spin's been very impressive from Woodville today.
De Oliveira finds Hyam again, met behind the gain line, but Hyam manages to get past. And again, just like Parry before, asking the question mid-tackle. Everson goes. Everson into the 22. Counter ruck comes. So not 10. Everson slow to get up. He's put a shift in. But he had the ball kicked at him and then the ball thrown at him. And he's put a shift in today. And we see some of the Woodville players. Well, fans, that's Matty Connor with the beard. I saw Jet Connor, I think, running around in the second grade today. I think he's coming back from an injury.
Yeah.
Matty Connor, an absolute stalwart of South Australian rugby. And still going. Saw him running around playing second grade today as well.
Bit of a water break here, I think.
And slowed it down a little bit. And Jacob Parry trying to ask a question and then said that Everson couldn't go quick because I'm talking to you. The referee said, oh, no. They are debating the finer points of a high tackle. He's just suggested that he might not be able to go on, so I think we might see the return of Mr. Gibbons, which will mean that the next scrum would be Graham Gibbons versus Jason Hyam.
Interesting.
Doesn't look overly comfortable, Mr. Potter. Yep, and he's made the decision himself. He's going to come. He's just holding that right knee of his, and I don't think he's able to go on. I have to say, for all of that time that we were looking after Mr. Potter, Jacob Parry and Phil Jones were in full conversation. I gave up halfway through. Brooks. Beat the clean up. Can they get away? Gatehouse. Not much room. We'll give it to Mellis. Mellis manages to offload again, and then just a little bit of a missed tackle, and now Woodville are away. Evans manages to offload as well. Just a little bit hot potato. Ends up in the hands of Lindsay Adcock, but now turnover was there. Right round another high one. I think this has to be a record for the number of high tackles we've seen in a game.
You'd think the card will be coming soon for both teams, actually.
So 46 points to 5. I think that would make for an interesting start if they can get to the 50 within the 6 minutes we've got. I wonder whether that would. I wonder whether the last time that every single Premier Grade game was won with a 50-point score.
Jeez. That's a stat.
I don't know whether we have a historian. I don't know who looks after our stuff.
Might be a new
You
job
tell
for
the
you.
strat- No. No. That would mean that as Parry will go through the middle, and then Tom Price rolling towards the line, reaches out. No, he's got his arm out.
I think that was Tom sneaking a few metres there.
Well, the penalty would be not releasing. He has to release immediately, but we'll get into it in the next break of play. I think charge down. Who's going to win the foot race? Black's going to win the foot race. I don't think he's managed to get over the line. Now he does. So it'll be a 5-metre scrum. So the law says when you get tackled, you are allowed to improve the position of the ball in any direction. Nothing wrong with that.
I think he's been a bit unlucky there.
So Tom Price has just had a conversation with Phil Jones, not about the try, because obviously he never would, he's a consummate professional, and just about where he wanted the scrum to be. He didn't want the scrum there. I want it over
Moved
there.
a little bit.
I want it over there, sir. Oh no, so Hayham's moved. We've got
Cole Heyman.
Cole Heyman. So there's, I won't do either of them a disservice, but there is some experience in this prop battle between Heyman and Gibbons. Very, very good position for Woodville. Evans will go. Runs into Hyam. Hyam doing everything he can to try and keep him up on his feet and turn it into a maul. He managed to get to ground though. Parry. And then just too strong, and Guest will go over. And that will be the 50 points for Woodville. Says he's got time to kick it. There's been a fair bit of stoppage time as well, so you think there will be a fair amount. Just too strong, Mr. Guest, at that point.
Very elusive.
So as we start to get to the end of this one, it's you can see on the scoreboard that Elizabeth winless through 3 rounds, and that's going to continue to 4 rounds. Having been in the 2-division system over the last 2 years and having a fair amount of success, really, it's a grand final in it 2 years running and winning your grand final in the first year of the Division 1. We are aware that there's been some personnel changes. Obviously, Chris Slight making his way down the Port River Expressway, as Parry will knock that one over. And obviously the Army guys being away for the 10 weeks. Where does the club go from an 0-4 start?
I don't think there's much, unfortunately, with the numbers that we've got, with the guys away, they've got to keep digging in, I think, just keep putting the effort in, hoping for a few more numbers to come out, give us a hand.
You do sound a little bit despondent, to be honest, Pete, and it's always a tough one. And you've had a tough run at the beginning of the season with the teams that you've played. So you're about to start coming into an easier fixture list.
I'd hope so.
Well, it's going to happen at some point. Woodville are away again. Webb doing everything he can, getting into the 22, loses it at the last. Woodville have managed to sort it out there. Hebhart. No, they will look, and they're just going to have too many numbers, and Gatehouse will go over, and he will score his 4th of the day. On the other side of the coin, we have Woodville, who were 2-2. They're about to go 2-2. Who, you know, first year in Division 1, got to that grand final that we talked about and went unbeaten through the season. And the only game that they lost was the big one, the big dance, to yourselves.
It was a big year, that one.
And then, obviously, going up into Premier Grade, I think it was a step too far for them last year. And would have come straight back down if it wasn't for the restructure again. I think, judging by the way everyone's standing, that'll be that. They've had an interesting start to the season. So where do you want to see yourself come finals time? Where do you want to see Elizabeth?
I think we'd be in the mix of that bottom part. I think the top grade is what it's going to be. Is a bit far fetched at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think we definitely could be in the mix for that bottom half.
Yeah, I'm just laughing because Elizabeth actually made a substitution just before that conversion, and then the conversion goes over, and I think it was on for a record amount of time. I think there was 2 of them were on for at least 30 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, we've seen Woodville really just put the stamp down today, and there are some good signs for Elizabeth there when they get their structure right. Elizabeth just too strong today.
Yeah.